All right. Well, welcome to the Taboo Chronicles. I'm Roberta, the tool lady, and I'm here with my co-host. Uh, Go ahead, Miss Jackie.
Jackie, the wellness advocate. Hello, everyone.
All right. Well, we are so excited tonight to get started, to have a discussion. We are going to be talking about basically mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month. So basically, our topic is that there is no age, that it doesn't consider age. There's no barrier to mental health. So that's going to be our topic tonight. So I'm hoping that you enjoy it, that you learn something. Most of all, as we always speak about, I'm hoping that we save a life, right? Jackie, you want to share?
Yeah, no, I'm excited for tonight's episode. We have a guest tonight as well. So we're looking forward to a great conversation tonight. And I hope that is of help to anyone out there.
Right, right. And I guess to get started, Jackie, let's do a mental health check in for ourselves because most importantly, we have to know how to check in ourselves for mental health as well. I'll let you go first.
Yeah. So I'm doing fine. I would say probably just tired. It was my twin's birthday on Saturday, so we were out and about. And it's summer break, so now they're going to be, at home more often, eating up all the food. But yeah, just tired. But I feel good.
Okay. All right. Well, for me, I have a little bit of some optimism uh, as far as tonight goes. And then I'm getting ready to go on vacation. So I'm a little excited about that as well. So, and I'm thinking how this week is going to go by. So I can, of course, go on vacation. So I'm excited about that. So that is where we're at tonight. So I'm glad we're in a good place. And I encourage everyone that's listening to us, check your mental health. Check it as much as you do your blood pressure, what does the diabetes? What do they check, Jackie? What is that called?
They always checking their sugar levels, right? Their glucose. Everything.
Okay, okay. Well, their glucose. I didn't want to sound like, hey, I didn't want to sound like Big Mama. Them check for your sugar diabetes. I didn't want to sound like that. But check your numbers. Check your mental health and put that as priority, just like you would your blood pressure, your glucose levels, anything that you have to do to maintain your life because it's important. Mental health is a killer. It can be a killer. Um, now, I had, are we going to do the video first or let me look at my,
Yeah, so we have the video here first to kind of walk us into our topic today, because mental health has no barriers. It has no restriction on age. Anyone can suffer with their mental health. So we have the video where it'll be discussing some statistics with the youth and the challenges with the mental health. So we're gonna go ahead and play that video for y'all tonight, if I can get it. I just had it. It was just there.
right. That doesn't look like it.
I'm like, I just
Oh,
had it.
that looks like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there it is. Do we have the video?
Okay.
We have our video. There it goes.
A look at America's youth and the challenges of their mental health. The Surgeon General sensitive to the issues they're facing, making it a priority to help.
This morning, disturbing statistics showing a rising suicide rate.
In the decade prior to the pandemic, there was a 57% increase in the suicide rate among young people. And today, nearly half of high school students are telling us that they feel persistently sad or hopeless.
The largest increase among males ages 15 to 24, an 8% increase from 2021 to 2022. But overall, the highest increase seen in youth ages 10 to 24 and Black children, nearly 37% higher than the year before. The mental health epidemic hitting college campuses like North Carolina State, where 7 students have died from apparent suicides this year, to small communities like DeKalb, Illinois, where Nevaeh Mitchell was a cheerleader and active in her community.
She was my goofball. She was always cracking jokes, making people smile.
But she struggled with her mental health.
Did you have a sense that Nevaeh was struggling more than she had been?
No, her father and I thought everything was fine. Looking back, and I've thought back a million times, as you can probably believe, but I can honestly say no.
In 2021, 22% of high school students reported seriously considering attempting suicide. 18% of high school students made a suicide plan during the past year. 10% of high school students attempted suicide one or more times, with 3% resulting in injury.
We've also seen that LGBTQ youth have also been suffering with rates of self-harm and suicide.
The Surgeon General says research shows it takes an average of 11 years from when a child first has symptoms to when they actually get care.
If you have any inkling that your child is struggling, do not wait. Do not be embarrassed. Do not think that you can fix it yourself. There are resources and people that can help you have those conversations. As a parent, sometimes it's not your job to fix it, but to get someone who can, and that's okay.
And so, of course, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's not just youth, it is everyone, every demographic, so many people across this country struggling. So it is important to know there are resources there. Get the help if you need it. If you or someone you know is struggling with thoughts of suicide, call or text the National Lifeline. They have made it so easy. 3 numbers, 988.
Yeah, the numbers are just so staggering.
They are.
It's really a matter of like diagnosis, identifying, and providing the resources to people who need it.
I'm so glad you did this story because we need to be talking about this.
That's the thing, to break the stigma. We've got to talk about it. So here we are, 988.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I see our guest, Christine, has joined us.
Hi.
So we're just, Christine, we are very glad you're here.
Thank you.
I know that you're going to be a blessing to all of our audience, to
Thank
us.
you.
And again, we are advocates. We are here advocating for mental health. I hear Christine talk about it. It's something really close to her heart. And I was like, you know what, Miss Christine, I have a podcast that I do with another young lady, and this is our mission. This is our passion as well. So I asked her to come on. So I'm so happy that you gave us this hour of your time during the holiday. And if you want, if you wouldn't mind sharing just a couple of things about yourself before we move on with the.
Sure, absolutely. Can you hear me, first of all?
Yes.
Are you able to hear me okay? All right.
Yes.
My son, the high-tech person, lent me these headphones. So I was like, oh, so okay. So he taught me how to use them today. Anyway, I wanted to make sure I could hear you and then also be able to kind of block out other uh, noises and sounds from the back. But anyway, yes, my name is Christine Leal. I work alongside as a peer with Roberta, Miss Bell, and I personally am a learning and development professional and have been working for an organization called Head Start of Greater Dallas, which is a nonprofit organization that services families and children. So I've been working there 9 years now, but I am also a rehire, which means I'd used to work once before back in the 90s. And I became aware of this program because I've actually had my child which is the eldest son. They helped me with the earphones here, at a Head Start program. So I am a single mom, and I do have right now still at home a 17-year-old. So um, that's my story for right now, unless Miss Roberta wants me to tell some more.
Not yet, not yet. We not yet. We're just gonna inch it up until
Okay.
our final discussion tonight. But she's
Okay.
gonna share
Thank you.
some knowledge that she has on her walk with mental health as well. I believe we all have, everyone here on this panel has had a walk with mental health as well, not just as community providers, but also personally in our families, in our own lives, right? And Jackie, I love when you say it is what?
It is.
Okay,
Oh, well, that it's okay to not be okay.
that's
Oh, I
right.
like that. That's
I love when she says that, because it's true. Sometimes we feel like, oh, it's a problem that I'm not doing this or I'm not doing that, and I feel this way. It's okay not to be okay. I think the whole thing, just like tonight, we just want to bring awareness, and also that you reach out to some of these resources if this is you, if this is what you need, if you feel this is where you're at, that you get some help. We're all people of color. We all look like a beautiful shade of different browns up here, which is beautiful. We got, so the other part of it is that what we do as our community, we don't talk about it enough. And if you hear what we played before with the Surgeon General's notes, was that for one, when someone has a problem, a mental health problem, it takes them 11 years to get diagnosed
wow.
or start getting
Wow.
treatment. So within that 11 years, a lot could happen.
Hmm.
A lot could happen. Um,
Yes.
and the other thing that they didn't mention in the Hispanic group, but they did say in the Black group, it has went up to 37%. And this is the children numbers for children, not
Hmm.
adults too, but also the children. Do you all want to talk about that a little bit?
If y'all don't mind, I can start.
Okay.
I definitely can attest to what Roberta's saying because I see it. I personally have seen it within the, um, let's say, children's or teenage group around that hang around my daughter. Um, just even observing a lot of them coming in and out of school. You can, and when it's the appropriate time, we can talk about it. You can actually, as you grow to understand it and understand how to recognize it and identify it, um, you can see it in a lot of the young people of today, and for me, that was something that I had no knowledge of, long ago. But with time, I started gaining more knowledge. So yeah, I can attest that with the Hispanic group, it's probably gone up as well, Roberta. I
Okay.
agree with that.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. And I think the more that people are talking about mental health, the importance
Excuse
of
me.
it, the more that people are actually willing to go and seek help for it, especially within the Hispanic Latino communities. Um,
Mhm.
it's most of the time if something's wrong with a teenage or child or a teenager, they're laying down just sleeping. Because I can remember when I was a kid, and a teenager, like, what are you doing laying down? What's wrong? Why, you're just being lazy. Nothing's wrong with you. Get up. And it's this idea of that, one, in our culture just seem lazy just to be sitting down, not doing nothing. Like, you're always supposed to be doing something. And also the idea of that kids, teenagers, that they don't have any problems, but they don't have any worries. They're fine. Nothing's wrong with them. So we have to change that mindset as well, that they are human beings. We are all human beings. We all can go through something. And those numbers have been increasing ever since the pandemic. And at the pandemic, we know that they skyrocketed. Those numbers were being seen skyrocketing because of the seclusion. And for kids and teenagers, that's extremely difficult, to not be able to be around your peers,
Mm-hmm.
socializing, having to learn how to interact, virtually. And that really took a toll on them, just like it took a toll on adults, just us even trying to
True.
figure out that world and trying to do our job in that manner was very difficult. So you can only imagine how kids feel, because kids, they're used to socializing, and that's another way that they learn. Their social emotional and behaviors, and not being able to do that. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense that the numbers have increased and that they keep increasing as
Mm-hmm.
well. And I think they just keep increasing, not because those numbers hadn't been there, but because people are coming up and saying, I need help. Something,
True.
something is wrong. So I see those numbers climbing up as good in the sense that people are seeking help now.
Yes.
And would you say, Jackie, and also to add on to you, kind of piggybacking to what you're saying, is that also I believe adults are beginning to recognize something's not right. Like teaching, since Roberta and I both are in the industry of education, and then I used to be a teacher, a classroom teacher as well for a while, and teachers are the ones who see your children every day and day after day. Sometimes they see them more than their own parents. And so they see those behaviors, and those behaviors of depression or anxiety or whatever they might have that uh, people don't know around them begin to uh, demonstrate, they begin to show those signs out in the classroom, and then, like you said, just around also general emotional, behavior, social behaviors changes. It's not the same, like quote unquote, what we would say normal youth behavior.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely.
Yes. And I like the idea that Jackie did bring up our ethnicity. And that's
Hmm.
what's so important to me, because being African American and being from my culture as well, it's taboo to talk about it. It's taboo for us to grieve. It's taboo for us to be depressed. It's taboo.
Hmm.
All of those things are taboo, even on it to getting treatment, right? It's so
Hmm.
much stigma, um, which will lead to our next video, because it's one of my favorites. Because when
Okay.
people are talking about mental health, especially in our community, we usually we discredit it, right? We say, "Oh,
Hmm.
they just acting like that."
Yes.
No one is that stuck in a hole forever like that on purpose. No one is
True.
stuck forever. So let's go ahead and watch this video right quick. And I will warn the audience, it is some cursing. It is Dave
Okay.
Chappelle, but he has a point here. Go ahead, Mr.
It, there's some like noise feedback coming Make sure y'all have yourself muted.
Oh, okay.
The worst thing to call somebody is crazy.
Oh, it's turned down so low.
The worst thing to call somebody is crazy, is dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's bullshit. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. The worst thing.
Thank you. Now,
Oh yeah.
what do you guys think about that
No,
one?
I've gotten that before, and maybe it was said trying to be said in a playful manner, like, oh, you're just crazy, and it's like, hey, yeah, I do feel crazy. That's why I need to, get help. At the time when I was starting to start the steps to get into therapy, I'm like, yeah, I do feel crazy, but I laughed it off, but it does affect you for someone to say like, well, you're crazy, and it's like, okay, I'm not crazy, something's wrong. And the fact that people can think that it's okay just to tell someone that they're crazy, just because they're seeking help, is it's beyond me.
Right, right.
And to just saying, they're crazy, like he said, dismissing that, it's almost like not validating people's feelings or way of thinking and lumping it into just one term, crazy. Well, what is crazy in your, definition? When you say crazy, whoever says that, what do you mean? Break it down. You know, let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's talk about it. Because for a person to just say, "Oh, they're just crazy," well, then there's a lot of people out there that are crazy. We can be crazy too on a
Right.
on a off day. You know what I'm saying? But when some of these people are crying out for help, they may not know how to call for help, cry, or ask for it because they're so confused, they're hurting, and they have no idea, what are the first steps to take to even um, well, first of all, to acknowledge that there's something that needs to be addressed, that what they're experiencing is not normal, you know, or if they're experiencing something that doesn't seem normal, then also to recognize it shouldn't be lasting a long time because we're not always going to be happy campers 100% of the time. We're going to have our ups and downs, and we're going to have some sad times, some angry times, and whatnot, depending on the situations and our life's styles that we have and whatever trials come our way and situations in life. But to dismiss people, just say, oh, they're crazy, that's kind of like cruel, too, in my own
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah, definitely cruel.
yeah, yeah. But you get it a lot depending on your community, right?
Hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
our community definitely will say it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And even with a child, if you say, well, such and such had a bad day today, oh, they just be acting crazy. No, that's not it. You are disqualifying, like, sort of like Christine said. As Christine said, you're not addressing what's really going on when
Hmm.
you're saying that, and you're not acknowledging even this child having emotions. Even this child is experiencing something difficult. You're not even acknowledging it. You're dismissing it. And we do the same to adults. I know in my community we do. It's just not it's a barrier to us getting treatment. It's a
Mm-hmm.
barrier to us saying, hey, I need help. Because guess what? We don't want people to say we're crazy. We just don't want. But the thing is that if you need anything else, what do? You get a professional, right? You get someone to help you with it. You don't do it
Right.
on your own.
Right. Right.
you
If
know?
you don't feel well, you want to go seek a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Right. Yeah.
right.
You
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 want
call your doctor. Let me go to the doctor, see what's going on. See if that can
right,
get some help to get better. Yes. But just going
yeah,
back on what
and
Roberta said earlier too about our culture, I shared with our group at our employment um, during the presentation that I made is that our culture doesn't believe even talking about it, and even wanting to admit that there might be something that might be going on that needs to be addressed by a professional. You just kind of want to sweep it under the rug, or it'll pass, it'll go away or
Yeah.
whatever, and kind of just just discredit it or whatever, or dismiss it for
Mhm.
like it's just temporary. I know, and
Yeah.
that's sad, and that hinders and makes it even longer for the healing process.
Hmm.
yes,
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 definitely does.
yeah. Because what we like to say, in different sessions, we like to say, or different therapists, we like to say secrets kill.
Mm,
Hmm.
And we say that because some secrets do. People hold on to them, or if like, emotions, certain emotions we are not even equipped to hold all the time, right? So anger is one of them. We're not equipped to hold anger. And just think, if we're angry every day, we just weren't even created to even hold anger. But some of us are angry every day because of the same thing, and it internalizes inside of us. It makes us sick, right? And if we have any illnesses, it adds on to it. Like if we have cancer, if we have any of those illnesses, those illnesses grow off of it. So we need to be aware that, like Jackie says, it's okay to not be okay. B, it's okay to get help. And that's for all of us, not just certain groups of people, but for the people of color too. If we need help, it should be okay for us to ask for help and not feel like people will, disqualify us or dismiss us, or we're going to be counted under the rug because we do get help. And I think that's a lot of our problem. Now, the issue too is that it's going into children. I remember 10 years ago, a lot of children, and this was before COVID, there were a lot of children hanging themselves. And these children are in between 9 and 11. And to me,
oh
that
my.
says a whole lot, that we need to be talking a whole lot. We need to be doing a whole lot. Because now we're post COVID, and now it's not just
Mhm.
that one group of children, it's all the children now.
Yeah. that's
True.
that's why it's important to have the conversations, not only having the conversation with a professional to seek help, but having conversations with your kids, about, how was your day, or what, so if something's wrong, you don't seem like your normal, self, what's the matter. It's the responsibility as a parent or caregiver to ensure that you're doing mental health check-ins with them as well,
Hmm.
and see how they're
Hmm.
doing, keeping an eye out on their behavior. If they're not their normal, go-getting or talkative self, playful self, that something is wrong, and not brush it off. So it's not only your responsibility, or to not dismiss your own, whatever you're going through, and seek help, but have conversations and check in on your kids as well. So, and that has to be normalized as well, because again, as adults, and I think in Hispanic and Latin cultures, it's like there's nothing wrong with kids and teenagers. They can't have problems. They're fine. They have no worries, but they spend majority of their time in school. We don't know what's
Hmm.
going on in school. We don't know if someone is picking on them, if they're being bullied,
Hmm.
if they're
Hmm.
secluded, excluded, and you have to take those things into consideration, and that you may not know everything that's going on because they do spend the majority of the time at school.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be honest, Jackie, we're taught the same thing in our culture. As a fact, we came from a period of be seen and not heard.
Oh yeah, well, us too.
So,
Yes.
Yeah, I can say
what
for me too.
Yes. Yes.
so that what that means is basically you be pretty,
Mhm.
you sit down, you can watch the whole world turn upside down, but you better not say a word about this.
Mhm.
That's true.
Right.
It is.
Right.
That
And
is
you
what
like,
happened.
and so you like, I know I'm not supposed to say anything. I got I'm looking nice. I know what I'm supposed to be doing, but that's difficult because you're
Mhm.
still human.
Yeah.
We're still human. And we still have to process all of this stuff that's going on around us. And if we don't get an opportunity to process it with people who love us, what happens?
Right.
Yeah.
How can you handle the external
Mhm.
That's right.
influences? Yeah.
That's
Where, because home life and with family, you should feel safer. It's supposed to be a safer psychologically
Mhm.
place to share. So if they don't feel comfortable sharing at the home, it's a more difficult task to do it externally with, strange people or people not family in the family.
Mhm.
right.
Yeah.
Right. It can
Yes.
shift easily to being upset, angry, right?
Hmm.
Show up
Yeah.
as angry or depression.
Mhm. Yeah. And
I,
one thing I want to, say the reason that we always say here, seek help, look, seek professional help, and you can always start with your primary care provider. That can be your starting point, and they can guide you, into therapy or whatever it is, the steps that you feel you want to take. But you can't if you don't do that and you keep brushing it off, and as Christine said, put shoving it under the rug, dismissing it, what's going to happen is all these things are going to pile up and you're going to crack. You're going to have a breakdown. And the breakdown may seem just that, it's just crying and you can't stop and it's every day, or you just completely shut down and shut everything out. So you have to be sure and aware that that can happen. The more that you just ignore it, the more that you say, "Oh no, my family says I'm crazy," or "No, this is nothing wrong with me. It's just in my head." The likelihood that you're going to crack, you're going to have a breakdown, and then by that point, it could be where then it's chronic. Whatever it is that may be going on with you, it'll turn chronic. So it's important to address it early on.
true,
I
true.
like that. I like that.
Because
Um,
then that gets bottled up, and then it becomes more explosive.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
And when we talk about chronic, trust me, this is for the audience, because I know what we're talking about is something that we can't see. That's the biggest issue, is because you can't see, you can see a cut on someone, but you can't see this. You can't see inside their brain. You can't see that their endorphins aren't shooting off the way they're supposed to. You can't see all of that, but you can watch them and hear them, and you see maybe they're not bathing the way they should. They're not caring about how they look. They may be withdrawn. It may be so many things that they're doing, um, that you can see. And so that was kind of leading into the question of tonight. What are some of the things that you do look for a person who is having some mental health problems, or that has some situations with their mental health?
Um, for me, for talking personally, what I go through, one of the things is I just want to sleep, not get off the bed, just be in the bed. Um, So if you're someone that doesn't, do that all the time, you normally get up early, but now you're just cannot, it seems very heavy to get off of the bed, then that's a something that you can look out for, if you're looking at your kids, your teenagers, and also not if you're a social person and you're not doing those things, you're not, hanging out with your friends, you're not going out, you're just at home, that's another sign as well. And yeah, those were, and their demeanor, their personality just seems
Mhm.
different as well. I think those are some clear indicators.
You're so right. To add on to Jackie, uh, the changing of their appearance, Roberta kind of touched on that. The the inability or the unwillingness to keep up with their appearance, like you said, the bathing and the upkeep of their outward appearance and even their surroundings like their rooms with teenagers have a tendency to leave their rooms pretty, it looks like a tornado hits it.
Yeah.
Uh, but to be honest, when a teenager is not well emotionally and mentally, it can be even worse than a normal teenager. I shared about how you could, the dressing, the colors of the dress. They tend to lean to want to dress with dark colors, specifically black, the hoodie always on all the time, not just outside or going somewhere, but just constantly with that hoodie. The hoodies, in my opinion, and this is just my personal opinion, what I observed throughout the years, it appears that teenagers tend to use those hoodies almost like children have. Kids, toddlers used to use blankets, like security blankets. Those
Yeah.
hoodies tend to be something they're like holding on to, to keep them safe. And so, yeah, the black, nail polishes, the very gothic look, even in their taste in music and artwork and um, decorations that they want to have around the room, their room. If you're talking about a teenager, and that's what I'm making reference to. So yes, their appearance. Believe it or not, and I don't know if you all even ever had heard this, but even their voice tone. When they speak very flat, very like bass and flat, no inflection whatsoever. It's almost like robotic. Those that was something too that came to light later. Uh, that eating habits change. Um, and like Jackie said, the loss of interest in doing things that used to make them happy and things that they used to like to do. They become what I uh, described as a recluse. They will go into their cave, wherever that cave may be. It could be their rooms or it could be somewhere else. They just want to get away and they disassociate with people around them. They don't want to talk much and stuff. So those were signs that I learned that were significant, and maybe at first I didn't know, because I thought it was just maybe some teenager, behavior that they get to where they don't want to be around their parents too much. They want to be around their friends all the time. But when it gets to the extreme, that's when you start thinking, wait a minute, I know my teenager doesn't want to be around the family or us, but why are they even being reclusive with and distant, with their own friends? And so you start wondering what's going on,
Yeah. And I want to add to this, both groups, the adults and the teens, especially teens, can lead to using substances as well, to cope with some of their anxious or anxiety, the anxiety that they feel. So they may become codependent on some type of substance during that period as well. And the reason why is because they're trying to make themselves feel good, and almost like the comfort that Christine is saying with that jacket, that hoodie, because that is what it is. They'll wear it in the summertime. It's 100 degrees. They'll put on shorts and a hoodie, and so those are signs that that you may want to consider getting help. And then going back to what Jackie said about chronic, be aware that chronic comes after you've been that way for a long time, meaning that your mind, your brain, your chemistry just can't automatically go back. We've all had situations where, like, you may win some money, or you might got an award and you felt really excited, um, or something may have happened. Somebody may have died and you felt really sad. Well, we all have emotions like that. And then, like, a couple of days after that, it subsides. You don't feel that way anymore. Or maybe you still have grief, but it's getting better. Well, when it becomes chronic, it doesn't go back. It doesn't go back to what it was before. It's only at a time of getting worse. And so, I wanted the audience to understand that, because with mental health, it can get worse. And as it's illustrated, that people get treatment 11 years after, that is something unbelievable. So that means somewhere someone had said, possibly you may want to go, get some help, or you may need counseling, or there were some signs, but no one went to get help. And like I said, and I always say it, the goal is to save a life. That's the real goal of it. Well, now, as our time is rolling down the hill, this has been a really awesome time with both of you ladies. I'm so glad that Jackie, I'm glad to see you, and Miss Christine, I'm certainly glad to see you.
Thank you.
Um,
I appreciate that.
Now, someone, which is a good question, before we go on, we'll go ahead and answer that, and then we'll go to Miss Christine. We're going to give her a chance to share with us some information about her journey. So, they wanted to know, how does mental health impact a relationship? And that's an awesome one, because we have what we call a global assessment functioning tool that we use in counseling. And what that tells us is at what area is being affected. So basically, with mental health, it affects everything about your life, your family, your work, your school. If you're going to get gas, because you guess what? If you've got anxiety, if you're angry, if you're depressed, all of those areas, you may not be able to keep a job.
Yep.
You may not be able to maintain, do your homework. So it really, all areas. What do you ladies think about that?
Well,
What you
if you want me to say something, if Jackie doesn't mind, I'll go ahead and kind of step up to the plate. With regards to relationships, they begin to go spiral, uh, go downhill, south, if you will, sometimes, because the other people don't understand what you're going through. So sometimes others can view people who are suffering that kind of pain inside that we cannot see. Like Roberta well put, we are unable to see it. The other person looking in, they they'll begin to feel as if they don't exist, they're not there, you know um, they're void, they're in existence. It's like the world is a beautiful picture, and You see all these different flowers, trees, people, whatever, and they're there, but it's like they're invisible. They start feeling invisible. And because of that, that impacts those relationships with others. And then even the people that they have used to once have a stronger relationship or a good, healthy relationship, it begins to impact and influence the other individuals as well. And then it begins to make others feel, they do second guessing at what's happening. And maybe at first they might take it offensively, the behavior that's being demonstrated by the person that's not well. And they'll get angry about it or offensive or question it too much or just, you know, um, maybe not approach it, the right way, and may even cause the person that's already hurting and in pain, may cause them more pain, but they didn't do it intentionally. It was unintentionally without knowing, So, yeah, mental wellness or someone that's suffering that, it really can impact relationships as a whole, whether it's mother daughter, um, husband wife, or you know worker and employer and your peers. It doesn't matter. It's all about relationships, right? And how we navigate through those relationships um, is what we have to learn. That's why I believe that this podcast that you guys are doing are is amazing. It's just heaven sent, because I believe that you guys are really doing something, yes, very, very important to the world, and that is to raise awareness and to help people out there that are listening and viewing to understand that not to, feel embarrassed about it, and don't be ashamed or afraid of anything. You guys are helping people to understand that it's okay, like Jackie says, right? It's okay
Right.
to not be okay, correct? And so, yeah, goes full
Thank
circle
you.
back around. Yeah.
Right. That's
Mhm.
right. All right.
Yes.
Jackie, did you want to add anything? I think Miss Christine said it all.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think she said it all. I mean, it can impact, just any type of relationships, like Christine said, um, because they may feel that they are, when you are in, like me, when you are in your depressive episode, you cannot really think about anyone else or anything else and their feelings. It's like you're kind of oblivious to it because you're in your own head. So your spouse could feel that they're not being acknowledged, they're not being, they have no one to lean on, because as a spouse you're supposed to be able to lean on your husband or your wife. And whenever someone is in that episode, you can't be there for them as you should. And you can in turn feel guilty because you're like, I know what I'm supposed to do, and I know that I'm supposed to be there for my spouse, but right now I just can't. Like, it's too much. And that's what happens. It's just too much for you, to get through, to handle. And I think that if friends, family members, spouses, partners, we have to understand that it's not you, and it's not anything you've done, and it's not intentional that this person, your loved one, is, ignoring or not acknowledging you. It's just that at that time, in that weeks or months, they can't handle anything else. Simply even just getting out of the bed is like the struggle, the biggest struggle. And I can say that for me, when I'm in my depression, that is the biggest thing. Is just simply getting out of bed is like the ultimate battle. And someone who doesn't, live with depression or anxiety, they won't understand that. But that's when you do have to have some level of understanding. And again, don't think it's you, and don't write them off either, like, oh no, like they're always going through this, like I can't handle it. And okay, sometimes some people are, they may be, like they can't handle it. But again, remember, it's not about you. It's not, you didn't do anything, so don't take it personal. So I think that, this is kind of like a PSA, for everyone who has a loved one that suffers with mental health. um, just recognize that it's not you. Don't take it personal, and don't write them off, because that's the worst thing you could do for them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like that. I like that. Now we only have like 7 minutes, and Miss Christine, I'm gonna tell you this. We're gonna ask you to come back next month.
Oh,
Maybe like
absolutely.
at the same time, because I know you have a lot to say, but we had more than enough to talk about tonight. So, but
Awesome.
I do want you just to tell us a little bit of your story, whatever part you're comfortable with now, because
Okay.
we have like 8 minutes, and then we're going to
Okay.
ask you to come back, and we're going to give you much more time. I promise.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Not at all. My journey, my story, is just about a mother who didn't recognize at first what was going on to her about her own child. And the child um, not being able to express and say what was going on. And, and that was because for my child, who is now a teenager, she began suffering mental health very young, at the age of 9, is what she was diagnosed. And so she went through and was going through a lot of pain. But because, again, depending on the family dynamics, the culture, and how we are raised, and how you as a parent, me, trying to, do the best in parenting, but still fail in different ways, and still learning, even though I have 2 children. But you would think, well, the second one around, I should know better. But no, because each child is different. Each
Okay.
child has its unique character and personality and everything. So, no, you can't really even parent them the same way. But because of that, my child didn't know how to tell me and show me, or even open up. And so it was difficult for her. I had to, through bumps and hurtful situations between me and her, and not so good relationships at times, um, started the journey of recognizing. That's why I'm saying the awareness and the recognition of how to recognize those signs is so important, more than you even know. And being able to learn how to be that person, whether it's not your child but your spouse, if you will, or whatever, friend or loved one. Be that person that has a their sounding board. Because sometimes, was it the video, or one of these videos, or what we were discussing, that you can't you can't do it all. You're not expected to be the one to figure it all out, but to at least give them some seek professional help, right? I think it was the video, right?
Yeah.
And it's true. So learning your limitations as to how much and what is it that you can do and do good at, and know that, what you do is doing a lot, because the things that you do and to help along the way means a lot to that person that's suffering. You don't know it, and they don't always tell you right away. It comes up, it rises up through other incidents that happen throughout time. And then when they get comfortable and they begin to open up to you, then they begin to also letting you know what helps them. Then they begin to. But then that takes professional help for them for them to be able um, to to even articulate, to express, and to be able to tell people, how they feel, and help them to explain to others how to help them, the ones that are suffering. So yeah, I mean, it's been a journey. um, Mental wellness is something that you can't put, a time to. Oh, it's only going to go through this amount of time. They'll grow out of it. I think I heard that a couple of times. They told me as a mom, because I was always still seeking and asking. um, a young adult that I ran into at the store. Uh, she somehow we got on that topic, but she said, "Oh, she'll grow out of it," because I was too one of those children, and I started to grow out of it. Yeah, they grow out of it to a certain degree because they're maturing in age. If they started really young, like my daughter. So as they mature and understand how to even assess their own, manage their own emotions, and understanding how to recognize their own selves, self identity, and beginning to understand who they are, then yeah, it seems as if they are growing out of it, but it's not completely like healed or gone away. It's kind of still there. They're just the coping skills, if you will, and the recognition of what to do for themselves gets better because they are maturing in age. So they have better wisdom, and what to do to help themselves, and then to articulate and express back to the people who are their caretakers to know what to do. Here's how you can help me, mom. If you just listen and not, yell all the time, or can you do
Like,
this when I say this, or when I outburst like this, or when I'm crying, can you at least don't badger me with all these questions, and just let me be, let me cry. Because sometimes, just going to try to run to their, rescue, sometimes I don't even want that. Just let me get it out, you know, let me know that you're there, and but let me get it out, and it's okay. So all of it is a process. And yeah, like, Roberta says, I've got a lot, of learning, with time. And here's a little clappy.
yes.
So anything you want to ask me though?
Well, I really like that you just said that about the tools, that them learning the tool to cope.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. And then I like the idea that you said it giving them opportunity to process that. Jackie and I have talked about that before. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we do that even in our relationship. Like I may text Jackie and say, "Hey, how you doing?" But I know that it's a rough time, right? So just out of that respect of letting her have that space to go through her situation. But also, I think when people say things, they should be aware that being dismissive, because that's kind of dismissing it. Because the truth is, if you're going through it at this point, and just as the statistics said, 11 years to get treated. So it didn't say 11 years it was gone. It just said 11 years it had got big enough or chronic enough to need help. Now the other part of the statistics is that a lot of people in prison, um, that are in there due to their mental health and not getting